friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live and where it is normally sunny, but today is super gray, super overcast. I spent far too long messing around with the lights when I should have been talking to you because we're on a clock. Why are we on a clock? Because I have two sick kids. Noah woke up this morning, that's my 2-year-old, with 101 fever, and Nova has no fever, but she's been a little bit sick since Halloween, and this morning she slept in for an hour, over an hour past her normal wake-up time, and when she got out of bed, I was like, oh no. And so I sent a message to her teacher, and I was like, I don't think she can come today. So we've been to the doctor, we've done all the things. Yesterday was Wednesday in my world. I know you're seeing this on Saturday, but I'm recording this on a Thursday because yesterday I was like, oh, I really need to record a podcast. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow things will be calm. Famous last words. Things have not been calm. They're never calm around here. And also, Noah broke his thumb Sunday night. So, regardless of that, I have a finished object. Actually, I have 2 finished objects. I have some half objects. I have some new projects. I have a project that hasn't seen the light of day in a while that has finally resurfaced. So get a cozy drink, get a project, and let's visit together. I have a Starbucks latte. I don't think I've had a latte in a month, which is pretty abnormal for me. It's so good. Like the level of goodness that it is bringing to my tired soul right now, magical. It is decaf, but there is a little bit of sugar in it. Okay, if you're looking for me on the interweb, congratulations, you found me. Thanks for coming over. But I also hang out on Instagram as the Cozy Cottage Crochet. If you need anything from me, please email me. That's the best way to ensure that I will actually see your email and be able to reply to you. It's thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Now, finished objects. This is the finished object that took up the most time. And it is a cat. It's a cat for Nova. It's finished. Last episode, I showed you the blanket that I had made her and that was finished and all of the pieces of the cat. It is a tofu, the cat snuggler pattern. I got this on Etsy. It is designed for plush yarn and it is from @Hooked on Toast. It's a very cute pattern. I find it annoying. And it's not a knock against the pattern. I think the pattern is just fine. It's very detailed, but all of these pieces are made individually. The pattern calls for like blanket yarn or like parfait, something like that, some kind of plushy yarn. I actually just held a bunch of yarns together. I held one strand of Snuggle Puff from Knit Picks, which is a 70% cotton, 30% nylon in this pink color. I held a strand of Mystery Mohair. Is it even mohair? I think it's mohair, but other than that, I have no idea. And I had a skein of this, which is merino, alpaca, and icicle. It's 70% alpaca, 5% icicle, and 25% merino. And I split it into 2 50-gram balls and held 2 strands of that. All of that together gave me kind of a chunky weight sort of a yarn. And I made this cat. When I tell you the finishing on this is outrageous, it took me days to finish this. I think I recorded a podcast on a Tuesday last time, and this wasn't done until Sunday night, the night before I needed to give it to her. The head alone took me like an hour just to get the eyes. I actually took out the eyes that I had originally put in there, and I pried the safety eyes off with a screwdriver. I replaced them with these purple glitter eyes. I put the ears on, so you have to sew those on. You have to sew the nose on, which I faffed around for quite a while with like, which yarn am I going to use for this? I tried black, it looked weird. I eventually held like 6 or 7 strands of the mohair together and made that. And I also put in some eyelashes. I don't think they match. Like this one is much more fabulous than this one, but I was already like an hour and a half deep into this head. So I sewed the ears onto the head, I finished the head. That was one night. Then I secured the tail and I embroidered all of the paws. So you're supposed to do these little paw pads. I am not entirely sure that I did a good job at them, but they look like cat paws, at least from far away. I think someone's like pressure washing outside. Hopefully you can't hear that. If you can, I'm so sorry. They're not pressure washing our house. Come over and pressure wash, y'all. So I did all of the embroidery on the paws. That was another night. Then I sewed all 4 individual paws on and secured the tail. That was another night. And I think I sewed the head on to the body at the same time. What I will say is that this is not made to be stuffed. Like, it's made to be like the head is stuffed and this part is a lovey and then these are stuffed. I knew she didn't want a lovey. She wanted a stuffed animal, but I think in the pattern is not designed for the body to have substance, really. And so the head is like, and I reinforced the head, but this clearly has been aggressively snuggled by Nova for over a week now. I reinforced it before I did this, and then I made a collar out of some sparkly Caron Simply Soft, the scrap ball that I had. I sewed that to the head and the neck, and then I made a bow and I sewed that all the way through both sides. It was much more stable than this before it got loved on a lot. I don't necessarily mind that it has a floppy head, but that's just something to be aware of if you're going to make this pattern, that the head, I don't love it when you have to sew the head on to a body and it goes into a really thin neck because it never supports very well. Like, the head is always flopping all over the place. This would not even have a chance of standing up if I didn't have a collar on it. So this is who she is. Isn't she gorgeous? Her name at the moment, I think, is Rebecca. That will probably change. Nova changes the names of things all the time. So yes, it's very cute. Nova was very delighted, which made it worth it. But I hate finishing, y'all. I hate finishing. This pattern has so much finishing. The one thing that made it better was these Amigurumi sticks that I got off of Etsy. And the reason I bought them is because I saw Jen from Cinnamon Stitches had some that someone had sent her. And they're essentially like double-pointed knitting needles that someone put silicone beads on the end of, and you like glue them on. And so you can use these to stab through your amigurumi like so and hold the piece in place so you can do positioning and such. So these were really helpful, but oh, my Lord, so irritating. So I'm really happy she's done. She has already been aggressively loved, so much so that her head no longer stays up. Like, I swear the head stayed up last week, but it's okay. She's mostly like this anyways, you know? So yeah, I only recommend this pattern if you like finishing and you like making a billion individual pieces. But the finished result is very adorable. Very adorable. So I guess it was worth it. Now I'm on to some other stuff. I have another finished object and I'm not very happy with it. I thought I was going to be delighted with it. In fact, I'm not. So this hat I made, I think it was a finished object last time. I made out of wool folk yarn that was gifted to me by Natalie. Hi, Natalie. And this is how much I have left. Just a nug. I don't know how many grams that is. This is wool folk. It's a cotton merino blend. What does it say? I had 2 50-gram skeins of this. It is 68% merino, 32% Pima cotton. And it is like a chain ply yarn, as you can see. So I used a good chunk of it to make this hat. This is a sockhead hat. The pattern is by Kelly McClure. It is a free pattern. If you just Google sockhead hat, it'll be the first result that comes up. And so my dilemma when I was originally wanting to make a hat with this is I wanted to make a little headband, like a tie headband, because I thought it would be so cute, like Rosie the Riveter vibes with like a red bandana. I have been Rosie the Riveter a couple of times for Halloween, and I always put a red bandana on and it looks super cute. And I was like, what if I made one out of yarn? Will I have enough yarn to do both? Obviously the answer is yes. But at the time I wasn't sure if I was gonna have enough to do both. So I was like, which one should I start? I eventually started the hat and finished the hat first because I was like, the hat is definitely gonna get worn and I don't know about the other one. It was a sign of things to come. So I finished it. I have in fact blocked it. I'm not entirely happy with it. And I think, so I didn't really use a pattern. What I did is I cast on and I did some increases. There is 3 stitches of garter stitch on each side. Oh, focus. And 4, maybe 6 stitches. So there's 12 stitches total. So 3 stitches of garter stitch on each side, 6 stitches of stockinette in the middle until I got to like 22, 23 inches, and then I just decreased. I blocked this so that it would lay flat, and it did for a little bit, but now it just wants to fold over on itself, which I suppose I could fix by doing the entire thing in garter stitch, but I just like the aesthetic of this more, but I don't think it looks very good. I don't know. Like, you guys can be the judge of this, I suppose. Tell me your opinions, okay? So this is how I was thinking of wearing it. Kind of like as a little cute headband, tied up like this. And then I could like, oh, my hair is crazy. Like if it was slipping, which I don't really feel like it is at all, actually, I could bobby pin it. I think a couple of things. One, I think it's a little too long, and I didn't think it was too long when I made it, but I think I didn't stretch it out when I blocked it. I simply just laid it flat and like smoothed it out. But I almost feel like I could tie this again. Like these little pieces are too long. Like what would happen if I tied it again? I don't know. Now it looks ridiculous. Now it looks like I have a bun, a yarn bun. So like this part is too long. So in theory, I could frog a couple inches of it and then do the decreases again. And that would be fine. But like it doesn't lay flat, and I just don't feel like it looks as cute as I wanted it to. What do you guys think? Like obviously it's, see how it's rolling? I really wanted it to be like this. Like I think that's a much cuter look, and I could potentially get it to do that with a lot of finagling and some bobby pins. I don't think it's gonna stay. See? Like that's a little bit cuter, but I still think this is too long. And I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know if this is like the look I'm going for. I feel like what I think it looks like is a baby. You know those big old stretchy headbands that you put on a bald baby? That's the vibe it's giving me. And I don't love it. Maybe it would be different if I had like a lot of hair and like a bun or something, but I don't know. Maybe it's the fiber content. Maybe it shouldn't be that stretchy to begin with. Like I wonder if I made it in 100% cotton yarn or even like a linen yarn or bamboo yarn, something like that, that it would work a little bit better because it wouldn't have that give. Maybe if I did it in straight garter stitch, maybe if I crocheted it from side to side, that might work. I'm not entirely willing to give up on it yet, but I just feel like it looks really dumb. Please tell me your thoughts. I am genuinely asking for them, okay? Don't be mean. Don't be like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. But please don't lie to me and be like, it's totally adorable when it's not, okay? So, like, I'm interested to know your thoughts on this. Maybe if I just don't. I feel like I have tried to wear it like 4 times. And every time I put it on, I'm just like, it's giving me baby vibes. Like, I just can't. I can't deal with this. So, yeah, I don't know. This one I think is a fail. I'm trying to decide if I should frog this and reclaim the yarn. I could maybe do it this way, but then again, it's not really long enough for this either. Like tie it underneath in the back. I think that that's cuter because now it looks like an actual headband. I think that's cuter. There is such a thing as those hair ties, those hair headbands with a little like silk, and then you put like right here and you tie them underneath, and they have like tails that hang down. So I don't know, does this part look dumb? I won't be able to see that until I start editing. So I don't know, maybe I'll wear it like this. Maybe. I would love your thoughts. I think I have enough yarn to actually make another one. I'm not entirely sure. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I can't decide. Like, should I frog it? Should I not frog it? The yarn seems too special and beautiful to not reclaim it. But also, I like really love the idea of what I had. And it's just the execution is not my favorite. So let me put my beautiful hat back on. That makes everything better. And yeah, so yeah, please tell me your thoughts. Do Do you make headbands like that? Like with the, what is it? Like a pinup vibe? I want to say pinup vibe, but like also Rosie the Riveter, not a pinup at all. And that kind of vibe, like that's the vibe I was thinking of. And I understand like I could put on some cute winged eyeliner and like be all fabulous, but I still feel like with the bow right here on the, maybe it's just the color or the size or the length, it just makes me look like a baby. I can't deal with it. So that's the finished object that is a tale of woe when knitting attacks, as the knitwear girls would say. But let's move on, shall we? I have a half object, which means I have finished a sock that you did not even see. I showed you the yarn that I was going to ball up last time. And I have, in fact, cast on the second one. So an entire sock has been done, and I almost just stabbed myself. Oh, that's sharp. I think this pin is actually broken. That's why the pointy part is sticking out. Well, RIP. It was a cute little sheepy pin that has clearly had a hard life. I will not be letting that stab me in the future. I cannot just be floating around in a bag. This yarn I got quite a while ago from the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted campaign, which came, it's a thing that happened on Instagram that no longer happens anymore because Instagram ruined it by messing up their hashtags. But it was from a lovely lady named Michelle. And this is Gnome Acres yarn in the color Bad Bunny. Ooh, yes. Yes. It's 75% merino, 20% nylon, and 5% sparkle power. This is Gnome Acres. I think this is the first time I've ever used Gnome Acres. I have really, really enjoyed it. And you're about to see something that you have not seen on this channel for, how long have we had this YouTube channel? I bet you haven't seen one of these in 6 years. Probably 6 years. And what is it, you might ask? It's a heel flap and gusset. Was that your guess? Did you think that that's what I was going to say? I have never, ever in my entire sock knitting life done a top-down heel flap and gusset. I used to, when I first started making socks, I learned them toe up, and I would do a toe up heel flap and gusset. And I still have some of those socks because they were all tall socks, and I don't wear those a ton. I only wear them in the winter in Florida. Actually, there's going to be winter next week in Florida, which is very abnormal for this time of year. It's going to be in like the 40s. We're all going to die. Like, we are not prepared. We're not prepared. And I guarantee you on Thanksgiving, it's going to be like 80 degrees and we'll be sweating. Anyways, I have done a lot of toe up heel flap and gussets. They require zero picking up stitches. You just keep working. And I would work them all on my 9/8 circulars, just like I do for every single sock I ever knit. I pretty much only use 9/8 circulars except for the toe. I have wanted to do a heel flap and gusset again for a while, but the thought of having to pick up stitches was just, and I don't have it memorized. It's not second nature to me. I have the Fish Lips Kiss heel memorized. I have the Shadow Wrap heel memorized. Like, I could probably do a short row, like a German short row heel or something like that without too much fuss. But a heel flap and gusset has a lot of extra moving parts. And the reason that I finally did it is because now I have Denise of Earth Tones Girl, her No Fear sock knitting book. And there's so much information in there, but it has information on how to do a top-down heel flap and gusset. And I just took a picture of that page, the 2 little sections that I needed, and I pulled it up on my phone when I was working on the heel for this, and it worked perfectly. And I have no holes. This is what it looks like. So I cast on 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles. I did 15 rounds of ribbing, and then I did quite a long cuff because I just really loved this yarn and I wanted to keep knitting it. I love how this looks. I really don't love the pulling that happened right here. I thought maybe the entire sock was going to be like that. That's the only part I don't love. But yeah, I did. This is my heel flap. It's a slip stitch heel flap and gusset. So you work this part. You essentially are working on half of your stitches. So I had 32 stitches here, and then I had 32 stitches back here, and I worked the entire flap. This is not connected to anything when you're working it. Then you work this little bit right here that's a turn. It's called the heel turn, and this is in stockinette, but you're doing a bunch of short rows back and forth until you get back to the amount of stitches that you have. And then you go around and you pick up stitches I don't know what direction. We'll pretend it's this direction. So let's say I leave off right here. I'm gonna pick up all of these stitches, pick up one in the corner, knit across, pick up all of these stitches, and then go back around. And then you have to decrease back to your original stitch count, which is where we got this pooling. So this is what it looks like on 64 stitches. This is what it looks like on way more than 64 stitches. And you can see this little line right here. These are the decreases. And what this does is gives room for your foot. So if you have a high instep, this is like your instep right here. If you have a high instep or you have larger feet or something like that, and you find that fish lips kiss heels, short row heels, they're either really tight right here, or they're so tight that they're stretching and pulling and giving you holes, or they're just really uncomfortable, probably a heel flap and gusset is the way to go for you because it has so much more room. It has so much more room. And you could even add more room in here if you wanted to, because you're decreasing anyways. You could just decrease it back out. So I found this part a little tedious. Like it's just the purling. So when you're doing a slip stitch heel flap, you're essentially doing knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one. And it gives you this texture that essentially is harder wearing than plain stockinette. So your heel is where you rub against shoes a lot. And so you can get holes back here. A lot of people will get holes. And so this slip stitch texture, actually, it almost creates a double layer of fabric where it's much tighter, denser, and more sturdy than plain stockinette. It's not as stretchy at all. And then after you do your knit one, slip one row all the way across, you then have to purl back the other way. I found that very annoying. But it's not very long. It's like literally only this many rows. And then, of course, you do the heel turn and pick up stitches. I had to do the heel turn and pick up all of these stitches when Noah was sleeping because it required some concentration. But then the rest of it, I could just decrease out because you can count your stitches. I could be like, oh, well, that's not 32, that's 40. So I still need to be decreasing. And then I just did a rounded toe. So that was a very long explanation to say I have finished an entire sock since the last time you saw me, and I love it. It's delightful. I think this yarn is so cool, and I'm so glad to make like a legit, actual, like big pair of socks out of this yarn so that I can use as much of it as possible. And then some of this needs to go into my crochet memories blanket for sure. So that's a half object, and I did cast on the second sock last night, and I did one round. So it's starting very slowly. While we're talking about socks, I have a little bit of progress, actually more than a little bit, on another giant pair of socks that I am working on. Why am I making tall socks all of a sudden? I have no idea. This yarn was a gift from my friend Amanda, and it is Mud Punch self-striping yarn. It is actually a sport weight yarn. It's not a fingering. And I'm making boots. I made some boot socks with this. And if I can find the tag, Mud Punch, inspiring color. It is the colorway Take It Easy, 80% merino, 20% nylon. This is the one you saw last time that is just literally utter perfection. And I did not plan that heel. It just happened. It's literally the self-striping and the exact amount of stitches and tension that I have. So this sock was done last time. This one, I had done about this much. I just started it. But look where it's at. I have turned the heel. Ugh. It's flopping around like I was going to say like a fish, but really it's flopping around like a floppy sock. So yes, look at it. I have done all this leg. So this leg, I worked 20 rounds of 2x2 ribbing instead of 15 like I normally do. I worked 7 inches instead of 6 because I, again, want these to be boot socks. I put in a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then right before the Fish Lips Kiss heel, I decreased to 60 stitches because this is a sport weight. And I'm still knitting it on 2.25 millimeter needles, so it's really dense, really squishy. It'll be super warm for the 4.5 days of the winter that I'll be able to wear it. But I'm really, really happy with this. Let's see how long the foot has to be. I think I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more stripes before I start the toe. Yeah, it looks like I started the toe on like the very last row of the blue. So I have 7 more rows, 7 more stripes, and 60 stitches goes faster than 64, you know? So I have this much yarn left. I don't know how much I'll have left at the end, because again, these are like pretty substantial socks for me, who usually makes shorties. But I guess I'm on a long sock kick right now. What will be the pair after that? No idea. Haven't thought about it in the slightest. But there's more projects. Okay. I have been making some pumpkins. I do not have a stuffed pumpkin to show you. I am working on the third of 3 pumpkins, and then I'm going to stuff them all at the end, I think. This is a pattern that I showed y'all last time. It is from Brianna K Designs. It is Pumpkin Spice Crochet Trio. This is what it looks like. Look at the stitch. I'm obsessed with the stitch. I love it so much. I have made this one and this one, and I'm working on this one. You can get this pattern for free on her blog if you just Google Pumpkin Spice Crochet Trio. I think that I have it linked in the last episode, and I will link it in the description for this episode as well. I purchased the pattern because her website was a little overwhelming to me, because like it's just too many pop-ups, too many ads. Like I can't deal with that. I have no problem supporting a maker and like buying stuff from them, but I don't love that I had to do it because the website gave me an eye twitch. So this is the one that I was working on last time. I need to find my tag. Okay. I don't know where I was last time. This is Premier Basics Chunky. And these 2 colors were sent to me because I'm a Premier affiliate. When they launched these new colors of Premier Basic, I got 1 ball of each of these. I then purchased an extra ball of this and 3 balls of this to make the 3rd pumpkin. 1 ball is enough with my gauge to make 1 small pumpkin. And these balls are $2.99. It's such a good price, and I really love this yarn. Like, I have no complaints about this yarn whatsoever. It's 100% acrylic. This is the colorway Leaf. As you can see, it's a big old leaf color. There. Is that the right side? Or is this the right side? It doesn't matter. So this is my first pumpkin, completely finished. So essentially what I will do is seam this up, and then you sew the top part together, you stuff it, and you sew the bottom part together, and it will bulge out. Not like that. That looks like a rumply mess of nothing. But it's going to be so cute. I just haven't done it yet because I'd rather do all of the sewing all at once. But yeah, I'm so happy with that. So this is the colorway Leaf. This next one is the colorway Ember, and this one is the 2nd size in the pattern. It took a ball and a half. So I purchased another ball of this Ember color. I will say, when I went on the Premier website to look for this color, I was looking at all of the oranges and I was like, that is not the right color. It's not the right color. I don't understand. I couldn't find the right orange. And I was like, what color is this? Like, this is not the same. I don't understand. Because this color doesn't look like this on the Premier website. This is the colorway Ember, and this is showing up, at least on my camera, very true to what it is. On the Premier website, it doesn't look like this, but this is what it looks like in real life. And so this is how big the 2nd pumpkin is. I should show you them together so you get some kind of a comparison. So they get bigger and also taller. Let's see. I can show you like this. So as you can see, this one's a little shorter and this one's much longer. So they will stack so perfectly. So the 2nd one took about a ball and a half. I do have to be careful when working on this because it kind of hurts my elbow a little bit. So I've been doing like 1 strip at a time, and I'll just set it down, and I'll do 1 strip and I'll set it down. I think if I could just pick this up and work on it with no issues at all, with no nonsense from my elbow that required surgery in February, then the 3rd one would already be done. But I can't. So it's going a little bit slower than I would want it to, but I'm hopeful that I'll be able to finish it pretty soon. So the 2nd one was the colorway Ember. The 3rd one, I purchased 3 balls of this from Premier because this was not included in the yarn that they sent me. This is the color Mahogany, and it is a beautiful chocolate brown. And I just started this one like a day ago, 2 days ago. There we go. That's the right side. Yeah, so this one is like 2 V's taller, and it will be another 4 repeats longer, I think. So yeah, I just started this one. It's going to be quite a while before that one gets finished because that has 17 of these strips. So I still got a ways to go on that one. But this is mahogany. So we had leaf, ember, and mahogany. I will link this below if you want to make your own pumpkins. I love them so much. I can't wait to have them decorating our house. I was going to say for Halloween. Halloween is already passed. Halloween is no more. And yeah, it is done. It's living in. Can you imagine a more perfect bag for these pumpkins to live in? This bag was made for me ages ago by Clarizabeth, who has Crochet Cakes, and I love to put all of my autumnal projects in there. Now, a pattern that has not seen the light of day in a while. I was like, ooh, I'm going to pull this out. I can absolutely get this finished in November. Won't that be so cool? I'll be the best person that ever lived. Will I get this finished in November? There's more to be done than I thought. I was like, oh, it's no problem. There's just 2 sleeves that need to be done and a button band. Well, I don't know how you are, but 2 sleeves is actually a ton of work. A ton of work, you guys. I'm trying to find the front picture for this. This is called the Artist Cardigan. It is a free pattern by Nordana Crafts. I love it. It's a great pattern. I have no complaints about this pattern whatsoever. The body has been finished for quite some time, and I just haven't been picking it up. And so I needed to work on the sleeve. There's a ball of yarn attached. I don't know if this is going to be enough yarn to finish the sleeve. I was not worried about yarn chicken. I was worried about yarn chicken initially, then I was not worried about yarn chicken. Now I'm worried about yarn chicken again. Because there's no way that's going to be enough to finish the sleeve. I have another full ball for the other sleeve, but I think that was a full ball to begin with, which means this is what's attached to the bottom of the cardigan, because you need to have the sleeves completed before you can do the button band, because you have to seam up the shoulders. And now I'm like, will I be fine? Probably. The button band is not that thick. So this pattern is really unique because it is worked side to side. You start, I don't remember, I think you start on the left side, and you work sideways around the back, around this part, and you do all the shaping for the armhole, for the front V, for everything with short rows. Then you come in and you do this cool pickup detail at the top of the shoulder, which this detail is the entire reason I picked this pattern. And then you work the sleeve straight out from the armhole, and you do all of the shaping again with short rows. So I think you can see it if I hold it up this way. This is the underside of the sleeve. It almost reminded me a little bit of the Fish Lips Kiss Heel in that it has like a boomerang row in the middle. So you do all of these decreases. You start like up here and you decrease. Then you do a boomerang row all the way to the cuff. And then you start increase until you get to the cuff again. The cuff is made of regular slip stitches. The rest of this is made of yarn over slip stitches, which looks like knitting and is super stretchy. So I can't, the sleeve is not done enough. When I pulled this out, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to totally get this done before I podcast next time. Will I? No. I still have like 9 or 10 rows, and every row is actually a forward and a backwards pass. So it's gonna be a minute. Like I will not be able to do this tonight. I'll probably be able to do like 3 rows tonight when I sit down, because now they're 80 stitches long again. I'm not giving anything away. The pattern is free. The only thing I will say is when it comes to the sleeve and the underarm shaping, which goes on down here, you can't even tell really. Like this is where it connects, but there's no holes, there's no weirdness. It has one of those things that I feel like are mostly in knitting patterns, where it's like, hey, rounds or rows 12 through 16, you'll be decreasing at this rate in your row. And then it had a paragraph for row 16 where it was like do all the way to the end. And then had another paragraph that said at the same time, make sure you're also decreasing in the underarm so that it will fit, the sleeve will fit into the armhole. so there's multiple sets of decreases going on, and the rows are not the same for those. So I had to write it out on the pattern because I couldn't keep track. And I feel like that is a standard thing in knitting patterns, those at the same time kind of a things. The only modification I have made to the pattern so far is it says when you decrease at the underarm to skip a stitch, and I actually just yarn over slip stitched two together. Like I worked into both stitches and made them into one because I felt like there was going to be a gap, and I didn't really love that. So yeah, I love it though. I think it's going to be pretty amazing. I don't know if I can show you. This would be like so much more helpful if the other sleeve had a shoulder, but essentially this is what it looks like. Maybe I can hold it like this. That's what it's going to look like, and it's going to be really stretchy and have a button band. In theory, it will fit me. I think it will, especially after blocking. I made a smaller size than I normally do, with less positive ease than I normally do, but it should fit me. And the chances that I'm going to wear it buttoned up are pretty small anyways, so it's fine. Everything's fine, right? What did I do with the pattern? I don't even know where it went. The pattern is missing. Perhaps it is on the floor. Who knows? I'll have to find it later, because if I don't have the pattern, how am I going to remember when to do decreases at the same time? The last pattern or project that I have been working on is one that I, again, caked up yarn for last time, but I hadn't started it. And I found what I wanted it to be. It is, what is this yarn? This is Vitalana by Knit Crate. Vitalana Ascendance. The colorway is Ancient Ruined. It's 100% fine Peruvian wool, and it is a sport weight yarn in this green color. Oh, look at it. I just think it's, I don't know, it's like a murky green. I love it. I put it in this green project bag because, of course, it needed a green project bag. The yarn is green. And this was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast who was also named Hannah. So I have that, and I found the pattern that I wanted to use for this, and it is the Pixel Knits. This is what they look like. That's pretty cool. I saw the picture on Ravelry, and I was like, oh, that's it. It definitely needs to be this one. I was a little nervous when I bought it because this pattern is not, the designer, English is not their first language, and I was like, I don't know. That's another view of them. I think it's fine. The designer is Kochkina Svetlana. I have this linked on my Ravelry page. If you want to look up this pattern, just click on the Ravelry link below. It'll take you to my page and you can look in my whips. This pattern has been started. So I purchased the pattern. The only comment I will say, I think the pattern is really clear. I think it's easy to understand. However, there's some information in certain places that is not in the actual pattern. So like there is 2 or 3 pieces of information that would be really important to know while you are working the pattern that are in other places in the pattern, like in the prologue. And so if you just go straight to the pattern instructions and you read that, and you don't read the several pages of prologue that is included, then you're gonna be missing some really key information. That's my only comment. I frogged it, I started again. I started with the recommended number of stitches, and it was much too long. Like I will hold this up against my hand. This looks like a perfect mitt size for me. I actually took out 8 stitches, so about this much from the mitt, which may come back to bite me when I do the thumb, because I took out the 8 stitches right here, and I don't know how that's gonna work. I think what I'm going to do is I'm about halfway through the first side of the first mitt. So you work it side to side. You start over here, you again do a bunch of short rows. So all of the shaping is done with short rows. This entire thing is made with slip stitches, yarn over slip stitches, and half double crochets. That is what gives you this pixelated pattern. I am using a very different yarn in a very different construction than she is. So I think that the pixels would probably show up slightly better on like a superwash yarn or of that, some kind like that. But my plan is to finish it to here, right before the thumb, and then actually soak and block it and see how much it blooms and how much I like it, then make any adjustments from there. I had worked probably this much on the first attempt before I was like, that is way too long. Like it was down to here. This is not how it should be looking. So maybe I just have small hands, not widthwise, but like lengthwise. I don't know, maybe. Or maybe my gauge is just so different. But I have this mistaken belief that I can just make adjustments whenever I want. And you know, a lot of times it works out. A lot of times it works out, but sometimes it does not. So I think I will block it. You can see the kind of short rows coming in right here. And that's what makes the mitten shape. So now we're going out here. So you work it this way. This is like the palm. Then you work the thumb. Then you work around this way. Then you seam it up. And that's what gives you the mitt. It is, I wouldn't say it's a complicated pattern. It's a little bit tedious because every row, like all of this is half double crochets and slip stitches. And then this is either slip stitches or yarn over slip stitches. And so the way that you are counting, you have to count every row. You have to line them up perfectly. I have gotten off a few times and needed to frog, but it's only this many stitches. And even though it's on sport weight yarn, it's still not a huge project. So it hasn't really seemed like that big of an investment. Like if it was a sweater in this stitch and I kept getting it wrong, I would be like, please help me. But it's not. So the frogging hasn't seemed to bother me. So yeah, I'm hoping to get a little more progress on that, but I am also focusing on my artist cardigan. So we'll see. We'll see. I have a couple of 2B projects. One, I actually don't know when this is going to get started, and I did not bring the pattern over here. It is living in a bag that Lori from the Lori Lulu Crochet Podcast gave to me, and I love it. It's Baby Yoda's. And the yarn is Bee Woolen DK. It was a gift from my friend Emmy. The colorway is Old Man Pants. I have known what this yarn needed to be for quite some time, and now I need to tell you, so let me grab the pattern. It was always going to be this pattern. It is a pattern from Morit Magazine, issue 5. That is the Autumn Winter 2023, yes, 2 years ago, magazine. And it's going to be this. Aren't those magical? I've thought they were magical since this came out, and that yarn has been slated for this project for quite some time, and I finally balled it up. It is the, I don't know how to say that. Does anyone else know how to say that? I'm going to say King Gussie, but I'm sure that's wrong. I apologize for butchering the translation. But they're just the most cool looking mitts. And again, I don't know about the construction, but they are created with slip stitches and yarn over slip stitches and short rows and things like that. Let's see what page they're on. Page 90. Let's see. Oh yes, they are crocheted sideways in rows. Yep, that's what I thought. Sideways in rows. You can get this pattern on Ravelry if you want to. I have not started yet, but I have balled up the yarn. So when I have some time, I think that this is going to look really, really, really good for that. The other project that is going to be started is a cat. It is called the Sleeping Calico Cat. It is a pattern by Why Shine Crochet. I got this on Etsy. The reason that I got this cat, I really hope it doesn't have a lot of pieces that need to be sewed on, but I guarantee you it will. Guarantee you it will. There is a person who walks around the park. So I and my 2 kids take a walk around the park that's near our house pretty much every weekday morning. We did not go this morning because we have 2 sick kids. Actually, we did go. We just went like an hour late, so we didn't see them. But there is a person, a lovely lady, who also walks around the park, and her husband, and she has been friends with Nova for like 3 years, maybe longer at this point, but at least 3 years. They are like park BFFs. And Noah has known her this whole time. And so usually in the mornings, whenever we run into them, we end up walking together for the rest of the way around the park. And she saw this cat that I was making for Nova, and she wanted to know if I could possibly make her a cat so that she can give it to her son, who had a cat for like 20 years, and his cat passed away, and he's really sad about it. So she wants to give him a stuffed cat for Christmas. Now, Generally, I do not make things for other people. I just don't. I just don't, you know? However, I cannot say no to this. I just can't say no to the person who's been walking with us for like 3 years at this point and has seen Nova grow up. And it's such a sweet request. It's such a sweet request. I have no idea if this pattern is any good. I am fully confident that I will figure it out if it's not any good. It has a lot of pictures. The reason I picked this pattern is because it's like a sleeping cat, and the picture that she sent me of the cat is the cat kind of all sprawled out. And we're going to give him sleeping eyes too because he's sleeping forever. She ordered the yarn from Premier. I think it was Premier Plush yarn, and it was black and white cat. The actual cat is black with like a white belly and like little white paws. So I think the paws will be fine. I'm going to have to adjust all of these numbers because this is kind of done in like, I don't know if it's done in the round. It's got to be done in the round, right? It can't possibly be like intarsia, but it's like color work. But I suppose it doesn't matter that all the ends are hanging inside because you're going to stuff it anyways, possibly. I don't know. Do you hear my child dying in the background? So it has tons and tons of pictures. It says it's worked in continuous rounds and spirals, and it doesn't seem to have anything complicated. It's just color changes. So she has the yarn. It arrived yesterday. She was going to bring it to me this morning at the park, but we did not see each other at the park because Noah had 101 fever. So that pattern, as soon as she gives me the yarn, I'm going to work on that as much as I can. I would like to get that done before Thanksgiving and give it to her. I think it'll be a really sweet project. Just a really sweet way to do it, you know? So that's all the projects. I know that was a ton of projects. Noah is still sleeping. Nova is kicking around the house, interrupting everything. What is going on in our world? Aside from 2 sick kids, Noah breaking his thumb. That was a fun adventure Sunday night, followed by an ER visit Monday morning and a orthopedic visit Monday afternoon. And then we have to go back in 3 weeks. They gave him a little plastic cast on his thumb and they taped it on. He got that thing off before we got to the parking garage, mind you. I stopped at the store. I got some gauze and some stretchy tape, like that stretchy stuff they put on you when you get blood. I covered it in gauze and I wrapped it, and then I wrapped it around his wrist, and then I wrapped it again around his thumb. So it's like this. So he can move all of these fingers, no problem. But what he can't do is bend this because this is where he broke it. And then I cut up a sock, made a hole, and then put the sock over his hand so that he stops pulling at it. If that doesn't work, it's working so far. It's been a couple days. But if that doesn't work and he gets it off, they're going to have to cast him up past the elbow for a thumb because he has a little sausage arm, and a regular little like hand cast will just fall off. So it's going to require a lot of stretchy tape. Anytime he gets it wet, I have to take it off and rewrap it, which is the whole thing. Getting him to take medicine is always a nightmare. So much bribery has happened with the Motrin trying to get his thumb to feel better. And then this morning, This morning he had 101 fever, refused to take the Motrin. Like, it took me an hour. Some lemonade, some juice, some chocolate, a Sonic video on my phone. Like, it took so much to just get 1 dose of Motrin in him. And if you're thinking that I can just force it down his throat, the answer is no. He will throw it up. He is impossible. He's impossible. But I finally got the Motrin in him, and it brought his fever down to 99, which is, thankfully. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything else in him. I'm going to have to pull out all the stops before bedtime because I would love him to have another dose because I'm sure it will be worn off by the time he wakes up from his nap. So yeah, he's got a fever. Nova's not feeling well. He broke his thumb. He also climbed into his crib. So the broken thumb did not slow him down at all, mind you. Just made him cranky. Tuesday night, I go in his room because I hear him yelling, and I go in his room. He's standing in the crib. And I was like, how did you get in there? He goes, I climb in the crib. From the floor, you guys. He climbed into the crib, which means that he can also climb out of the crib. which means that he could possibly fall out of the crib and break yet another bone. So I may have panic ordered a mattress yesterday morning that just arrived. It's like all rolled up. So I've got to unroll it, let it expand. And then Saturday morning, the crib is going bye-bye. And he's getting a real bed. It's going to be on the floor because he's going to fall out of it for sure. He's wild when he sleeps. But like, we were planning on transitioning him to a bed after the new year. But like, why must you force my hand for everything? Why? It drives me crazy. So I guess I'm going to give our crib away because we definitely won't need it anymore. I'm going to have so many emotions on Saturday. So many emotions on Saturday, you guys. I can't handle it. I already can't handle it. So theoretically, someone is coming to get our rocking chair. It's a giant rocking recliner. It is the best purchase I made before Noah was born because we have spent countless nights in that chair, especially for like the 8 months where we were trying to figure out what was going on in his stomach. He would be up at night crying, so uncomfortable, in so much pain. And I would sleep in that chair with him on top of me. The thought of giving it to someone else, I'm going to cry right now. Like I can't even handle it. However, it will not fit. It is a huge chair. It will not fit in there. The room is not big. It won't fit with a twin bed. And there's nowhere else in the house it's going to fit. And it served its purpose, right? So I'm not going to be rocking him to sleep anymore past Friday night. Friday night will be the last night. I'll be laying with him in his bed, which I'm sure he'll love just as much, right? But it's really hard for me. It's really hard for me to think about that. That also means I can give away the pack and play, the mattress for the pack and play, which have only been used a few times when we go out of town, the slumber pod, and anything else in the closet that's for a baby that's in a crib. You guys, I'm having so many emotions about this. I guarantee you I'm going to be a puddle on Saturday. A puddle, okay? But hopefully it'll be fine. I think that the lady who's coming to pick up the rocking chair is going to really appreciate it because I told her that it was the chair that I rocked him to sleep in every night, and it's in perfect condition. I've had it under a blanket the entire time we've had it. There's no stains, there's no rips, there's no spills, nothing. It's in perfect condition and is super comfy. And I'm so appreciative of that chair. I wish I had that chair when Nova was a baby. Although she wouldn't let me rock her, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I have to talk about something else because I don't want to cry right now and from now until Saturday. But there's just been a lot going on. The fevers are icing on the cake, I think. And I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for my baby to be so big. And I just need to accept that he's always going to do things before I'm ready for them. And not like I'm trying to like baby him and drag it out. He is just a force of nature. He is a bulldozer. There's a reason he has had 2 broken bones and he just turned 2. Like he has no chill. His middle name should have been Danger. But he's so sweet. So yeah, send me some love because I need it. My baby's growing up and I can't deal. And he's gonna be in a real bed. How did this happen? How, you guys? Anyways, I have to go because he is sitting up in his crib. Nova has already been out of quiet time for 30 minutes and has been banging around. And yeah, I need to gather myself, collect my thoughts. I will see you in 2 weeks. A special thank you to all of my members and patrons. You guys have been so supportive. I just appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to everyone for the comments, the likes, the subscribes. You mean the world to me. It brings me so much joy to be here every few weeks sharing yarny goodness with you. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me what you think about that hair tie, that headband thing, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.